Hello folks, welcome back. Let's get right back into this. Floors 11 to 20. As you can see, I have food here. I usually use Kaiser rolls for the lower floors, well, the lower sets. And I've got my espresso for the higher floors slash sets. I only use Kaiser rolls because I've got an absurd amount of seals. So I just get them from the Grand Company. Something to know about these toads. They do their tongue grab. If you stand in their hitbox, you will not move, and you will not be interrupted if you're a spellcaster. Oh, are we going with this again? All the steals in the world. I hope not. As I was saying about food, the espresso con panna, that is the highest item level food that affects you in Palace. Anything above that, you're not really gonna see a boost to anything. And that's something I forgot to mention in the last part. Food does affect Palace and Heaven on High. I'm gonna grab this because I'm not capped on Aether Pool. But yes, food does affect Palace and Heaven on High. And it does give you stats. Righty-ho. Let's not forget to sprint this time. I'm surprised I got out of that. It's a shame that it took 6 GCDs to go down. Yeah, generally in Palace you don't want to hit silver chests if you're already capped, unless you're going for score, or you're a healer, because right, here's the difference between a landmine and a silver coffer. A landmine does 80% of your current HP in damage. That goes the same for an enemy. Namely, you cannot die from a landmine. It has to be a silver coffer. If you ever step on a landmine and then hit a silver coffer, that was not the landmine that killed you. That was the coffer. Because silver coffers, they deal 80% of your max HP in damage. Regardless of what your current HP is, I could be at 1 health right now. And if I opened up a silver coffer, I'd be dead. But the reason why you'd want to open up a silver coffer is, especially on the later sets, I was mentioning before, you just don't have the damage. That can help to speed things up. So if you've got a sight up, and yeah, as you can see, being interrupted slows things down. But yeah, you don't have the damage. If you were to have a sight up, you could step on a landmine while fighting something if you're a healer and heal yourself up really quickly and maybe get a quick kill. You can do the same with a coffer if you're at max HP or near max HP, and it will kill the enemy as well if they're below 80% of their HP. So like a silver coffer would kill this thing right now. I really need to move into their hitbox. Be more focused on talking. Those toads, by the way, don't have a positional just yet, but on set 111 to 120, they will have a positional. If you aim your back to them, they will stun you upon pulling you in. Follow that up with the AoE, you're gonna hurt. It's not lethal, but it's unnecessary damage. First bronze. Mimic? No. You know, I really should use fortune and stuff, so I'm not capped. And intuition. Palace slimes. They're not a big deal. Unlike the hornets, I can see him walking towards me. I'm more focused on the slime. Slimes, they're not a big deal. As you can see, I took that thing out before it had any real chance of casting explode. That guy spawned on me, which meant he was already aggroed and he still didn't attempt to cast explode. Their enrage, it's pretty long. It's pretty far away, so you don't really need to worry about slimes. They're not like hornets. Even Astrologian, with its low damage, even no cards at this point, can take them out. On to floor 14 now. This should be where cobras start spawning. Every 3 floors generally a new enemy is added in. Slimes, you know, it's a general rule. It's not set in stone though. Like slimes, they showed up on 13. But yeah, there's exceptions to the rule, like slimes. Heaven on High, the dodo, that only shows up on floor 99, if I recall. So again, another exception. Alteration. Yes, we'll use it. I was considering saving it to next floor, but mimics hurt if you're on the second floor in a set. Yeah, saving it for next set, not next floor. One thing I'm going to show you can do, you can do that to stop mechanics. However, it's not consistent. Mimics can't be slept, so you can't avoid pox that way. They can be stunned up until floor 40, after which, once you hit the gold mimics, they can't be stunned any longer. They can only be interrupted. But there's a lot of enemies that are immune to sleep in Palace. So you kind of have to keep note of which ones are, which ones aren't. And truth be told, I've not been keeping note. But there are lists out there that do tell you which ones are, which ones aren't. A purity. If we run into a mimic, that's fine then. Feeding stone. There's a really loud car outside my room. I hope that's not being picked up. I know exactly who it is. Sadly. There's not really much to know on this set either. Next sets, things start getting a bit more interesting. But on this set, not really. There's nothing too big of a threat. Perhaps even less so than the last set. Well, the hornets aren't really a threat on any other job barring astrologians, so yeah. That brackish drop. They won't do it in just now, but oh, we got lucky. But on 111 to 120, yeah, they will cast that at you, even when they're not aggroed. So we used the alteration and we got Pigmoys. That's really lucky. But I'm not gonna say what I'm going to just yet, because that coffer right there might very well have what I fear. No, it doesn't. Let's use the intuition and head back for that last room. We'll take those guys out on the way back. Now, last set, if you are going for score, I did get the speedrun bonus. That is basically you take out the boss before the 30-minute mark. If you're able to do that, you get a bit of bonus points. If you're going for a speedrun, you can try and kill everything and get the time. If not, take it slow, make sure you take out everything you can, get every chest. Like, yeah, I'm not big on the score. I only did it before, as there wasn't really many high scores on Astrologian for light. So my first ever run was more just to get on the board. The second run was to see how far I can get. I ended up being third on the board. So cobras, they can be slept to avoid stone gaze. If you don't stun or sleep them, you can get behind them and keep attacking, because their gaze is a conal. We have draw. We might as well activate Diurnal. Now, this is going to be a controversial opinion, but it's mostly because I don't do Savage or anything, so I didn't care about balance. I prefer, well, about the balance. I preferred the old card system to this card system. Mostly as, sure, it was diverse, and balance was the king of all, you know, but each other card did have its own utility, which could help. For example, say you were doing a dungeon and the tank was doing a big pull. Potency enhanced bowl, you could do some gravities, they'll be taking less damage. It's an indirect damage buff, because you're able to do some damage as well. But I preferred the old card system, and I would have liked to have seen it, you know, now. But sadly I don't get that chance. And another strength. About the cards, if you've never played Astrologian before, one thing that you can do to know whether the card is for you or not, namely ranged, oh dear, is the card will have purple around the back of it, like the ewer there. That signals that it's for ranged classes, like Astrologian, Machinist. If it's blue, then it signifies it's for melee, and you won't be getting as good a buff out of it. So like there, that's a melee card. I'm getting a smaller buff. What's in here? Safety. Balokos can't be stunned. I can't remember if they could be slept, but we can science that just now. That is if we find another one. But I know for a fact they can't be stunned. Okus. They can put a slow on the player. It's a bit annoying. Thankfully, as a healer, you can just assume that. If you're not a healer, what you can do is, if there's like 3 or so of them Okus all together, you can pull them all back to back. I mentioned the last part about diminishing returns with sleep. The same applies to you. If you're slowed and then it wears off and they put another slow on you within a minute of the first one going on, then it'll have a lesser duration. So let's see how long this is. Six seconds. The last one was like 12 seconds. And if we have a look again, 3 seconds. That's diminishing returns. After that, we are immune to slow for the next minute. Some abilities don't get diminishing returns, but that's generally not a thing in here. Some dots do have, are immune to diminishing returns. It's a good thing we have strength. So I'm not capped on fortune. Oh, another patrol. Are you gonna double back? No. Oh no, yes you are. That's something that is a pattern in these circular rooms. In rooms like this in particular, a patrol will try and juke you by saying they're going to go one way, and then after you've already committed to going the other way, they'll double back and try and catch you. It's not in retaliation to where you're going. Here's our first mimic. Do we have enough damage to take it out for it? I don't think so. Just. Okay. If we didn't have that strength, would have been done. Damage dealt down as well. And I forgot to use the card. For morbals you want to stand close, you know, bad breath, that's a given. If we didn't have that strength, we would have had pox right now. Right, take you out. These guys stack on a dot. It's not that bad. The only exception to the stack and dot seedlings is in Heaven on High. I can't remember exactly what set it is. I want to say 51 to 60 or 61 to 70. One of those two has those seedlings in it. Their stack and dot really hurts. Here it's just pathetic. Even on the hundreds where they show up again, it's not really a threat, thankfully. Okay, we're taking you out as well. Yeah. There we go. Okay, we're capped on lust. I mentioned last video about a trick with lust and astrologian. We'll definitely be seeing that at the boss. I was hoping he would move closer before he did that. Are you? No, you are sight. If he was proximity or sound based, he would have heard me or saw, or sensed me rather. But no, he is sight based. And you spawned in the spawn room. Balance. Actually, yeah, there's an Oku there. I should just let that wear off. Aspected Benefic. On later sets, that is very useful. As long as you have the MP to actually do so. Because I mentioned before, MP on Astrologian can become an issue. The 120 boss especially. That's a big issue there. And there's the door, the dog barking rather. Okay, I couldn't target you and you decided you could see me. That was a bad idea, there's a below crane coming. Don't know which way he's going. steel. Sure. As you can see, we're close to the speed run, but if we'd killed a little less, we would have got it. But I'm not really caring about score, I'm just trying to go for the clear. In the interests of not wasting another strength or steel, I think I can hear a... yeah. In the interests of not wasting another strength or steel, I'm gonna quickly check that last room. And then I'm out of this set. And with that, the video will be coming to a close very soon. I mentioned before that each video will just be the one set. That's probably the right choice. The last video, which was... yep, the marble got hit by that. I thought I heard an enemy groan in pain. But yeah, the last video was about half an hour and it took an hour and a half, 2 hours to upload. Something like that. Yeah, if I was to try and upload 5 hours worth, because 5 sets, no, that... it would not work, so... Anyway. The thing about Lust is Lightspeed. Lightspeed works with Lust, so you can do this. You can kite a boss if you want with Lust active. What am I doing? We're not cancelling Lust for this. You can kill this boss with just a Lust, and it's probably the safest way of taking out this boss. But yeah, that's the trick with AST and Lust. I was mentioning 3 jobs. One is Red Mage with dual cast, the other is Monk. Their haste affects the spells. This does not work with Rezo. Rezo, ground target, it does not like to work with. It does not like to work with Lightspeed at all, or dual cast. So this is a trick exclusive to those 3 jobs, and to the Lust Pomander. Now, before we end off, I just want to go on about that trick a bit more. Later on in Palace, especially 150 is where I started using that trick multiple times in a boss. 150 has a boss that heals. You need as much damage as possible. You might need to pop more than one strength and steel. I used all 3 lusts there because I was a bit short on time. I got 3 more thankfully for 160. I didn't get a chance to do the 170 boss. You probably wouldn't need it if you can get to the boss in good time. For the 160 boss, I was within seconds of failing that boss. because of time. So multiple lusts using light speed to mitigate damage is something you might want to do on the very later floors. Anyway, with that, I'm going to end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in 21 to 30. This is where things start getting a little bit more interesting.